My GF has an unhealthy relationship with food and I don't know how to approach it. My GF, F29, and I, M29, have been together for about 7 years. She was never really an especially slim girl, but over the years she's gradually gotten further and further away from that. Now, as much as I hate to admit it or put it in such a blunt way, I think she's now overweight. There's a few trends I've noticed in the way she approaches food and general health, and they're concerning because she reinforces and defends them instead of taking advice into consideration. She eats her feelings. This is exactly as it sounds, but she's a very emotional person and most variances from the norm lead to eating some type of snack. Tonight she was upset about something from work and tried for about half an hour to convince me to take her to McDonald's for a sundae and has gotten upset with me in the past for saying no. This leads into the next issue. She pulls me into her binges. She doesn't like going out for snacks like these without me. I think she feels like my approval absolves her of responsibility for her decision. Unfortunately, if I say no, she gets upset with me and she tends to not let it go unless I either cave in or leave. She does the same thing with snacks she makes at home because she'll make 2 and give me 1 without asking if I'm interested. She'll then get mad at me for wasting food if I don't partake. This is problematic for my fitness as I'm a first responder and I can't afford to pack on the pounds. With COVID it's even harder to work them off. More importantly though, that's not what I want for myself. I've tried to help in the most supportive, non-judgmental ways that I can, but I'm getting nowhere and I want to try everything before I just spit it out exactly as I see it. She does Weight Watchers about 1/10 of the time and struggles to stick with it, often falling off the wagon within a couple days. I've told her that Weight Watchers isn't anywhere near as successful as it's portrayed and she's been through it like 20+ times, so clearly it's not a feasible option for her. I've given advice on foods to avoid like breads and sugars, but she doesn't change her diet. She'll also get defensive if I try and talk to her about her choices in high-calorie food. On top of all that, she hasn't worked out since early 2020 and has an aversion to it despite saying that I'll go to the gym with her. If I were to guess, I'd say she's up approximately 100+ pounds since we started dating. Being honest, I'm finding myself much less attracted to her and the lack of effort isn't helping. I should also note that she wants to lose the weight but doesn't want to change the diet or exercise to get her there. Has anyone been in this situation that has any advice on how to attack this? I don't want to end things, but I'm running out of options here. TLDR, my GF has an unhealthy relationship with food which she defends and reinforces when challenged on it. It's lead to noticeable weight gain over time. I've used up all options I know of to try and help and now I don't know how to approach it. Is your GF passionate about anything? Writing, music or knitting or anything? You need to encourage her to engage in one of those things she loves to do but probably doesn't right now due to low self-esteem and general anxiety. You have to realize that she is most likely self-medicating with food. You can't make her stop taking her medicine as long as she feels unwell. She has to be well enough to start breaking down her relationship with food. For that, I believe she needs to engage in activities that she loves or has always wanted to, and do it without pressure of accomplishment, but also do it in a way that improves her skill in it. She needs transformative activities with a lot of detailed work, because she needs to get away from her own ruminations. Therapy, a dietitian. If she doesn't want it, you can't make her want it. If she's developed one eating disorder to deal with her emotions, food reward, it's incredibly easy to let it go the other way and develop anorexia/bulimia/unhealthy weight loss, food restrict/punishment. However, I think you should stick to your guns and refuse to enable her binges. You have every right to tell her how you feel about it in the most caring way possible. But as a girl who has lost a good amount of weight, I don't think you can motivate her to do something she isn't ready to do. I think if she was super into fitness and clean eating before, maybe you could help her back on the wagon, but if she didn't have those skills in the first place, it isn't a thing that will happen magically now. Hey, as an emotional eater myself, the first step is professional help, therapy and medical health coach. The latter helped me so much. I'm currently in recovery from an eating disorder. Food binging is something she needs to work out with a mental health professional. It sounds like she relies on binging for the emotional comfort it brings. If you try to convince her to diet/exercise, She may transition her unhealthy relationship with food to high food restrictions and compulsive exercising. It's best to get her some professional help if she wants it. I say that because it's her body. She can gain 100 pounds if she wants to. I would talk to her about how you've noticed her difference in food choices and how it's changed the dynamic of your relationship. Tell her you're concerned for her well-being and that you'd like her to discuss her relationship with food with a professional, or if she's comfortable. 100 pounds is a lot of weight to change, so you should be honest with yourself. Are you okay with being in a relationship with her, in her current body for a while? That's a good question you asked at the end, because it will take at least a year for her to lose all that, and that's only if she starts now and has no setbacks, which is possible but less likely. Don't listen to the comments telling her go eat once a day and walk constantly. Get her to a dietitian who can help meal plan appropriately. Edit, someone with an eating disorder can't be helped until the mental health aspect is taken care of first. Bombarding someone with an eating disorder with just go for walks and don't eat, that is extremely harmful and not helpful right out the gate. Remember, mental health first and then work on the weight loss later. Edit, thanks for the awards, sad face. Husband pretends not to hear me when he doesn't want to do what I am asking. My husband, 26M, and I, 26F, have been married for almost 7 years. It's been a really rough year and he's been suffering in his mental health and refuses help. I've tried every last thing to make him seek it out and he assures me he's starting to get better. He lost his job in April from COVID and is still looking actively for work. I'm supporting us with a full-time job, while also in full-time school, the primary caregiver to our 2 daughters, 5 and 20 months, and the only one who cooks or cleans, period. To the point here, anytime I say something he doesn't like or doesn't want to hear, he pretends not to hear me. Literally, he just ignores that I spoke any words. Sometimes I honestly feel like I'm losing my mind and maybe I'm not even speaking because he won't even look at me. I've told him how much this bothers me, how we should be able to talk it out, even fighting would be better, and he just ignores me. I ask him if he can try to do some cleaning around the house while I'm at work, no response and no change. I told him my birth control is giving me horrible side effects and I want to try some non-hormonal methods like condoms for a while to give my body a break. How does he feel about that? Acts as if I've said nothing. Tonight I told him I'm feeling very lonely, sad, stressed, and unappreciated for everything. I told him we haven't done anything at all together since we went for a drive for our anniversary back in June, so maybe we could get a sitter and go to dinner this weekend and spend a little time alone together. Says absolutely nothing. I couldn't even help it. I was so frustrated tonight I began to cry when I told him how much it hurts me that he won't even respond to me. I finally heard him respond by groaning and sighing at me like I'm being dramatic. Am I? Is asking for a response from him when he's mentally not in a great place too much to expect? It's been almost a year and I have stood by him and been patient and honestly carried him through this whole pandemic when my own anxiety has never been so bad, but I haven't gotten a turn to have even one bad day since April. I believe in our vows and I know he is sick, but I am so miserable and lonely. He is a good dad, a good friend, a hard-working guy, and when things are good they are quite good, but God, it's been so long since then. I just want some small comfort. I want to get dressed up and feel pretty, for him to get off his phone and actually look at me and talk to me. A night of almost normal. But this ignoring just feels like rejection constantly. I've told him if he isn't happy with me and doesn't feel like he can be again, then he can go. But I'm sure you can guess by now how he responded to that. Is this really an okay thing he's doing? Because it feels really awful. He comments that I'm too sensitive. Is that all this is? Is there something I can do to help him better? Maybe. Thanks for any outside input. I have no real life friends anymore, lol. He ignores you when you speak. Ask for help, plead with him. When you're so hurt, because having the one you love ignore you hurts like hell, you start crying. You're a drama queen. No, this isn't you. Unless you are leaving out that you go full-on harpy on him every minute of the day, this is him. I don't know if there is help for him, but unless he makes a move for it, this isn't going to change. If this were me, I would treat him like the roommate he wants to be. No sex, don't do his laundry, cook for your family, he can find his own dinner. Don't pay for extras for him. When he complains, I tell him that's what he is showing he wants. If he wants a relationship again, he needs to work for it. My 3-year-old does that. My ex used to do this and it was his get out of jail free card. I would bring up stuff, explain my reasons, wait, he'd say nothing. I would assume he was thinking about it and because he never got back to me that he agreed. Cue a few days later and he would argue that he never agreed to anything. It's a control strategy to avoid dealing with problems. You need to decide how long you want to put up with that. Think about yourself for a week. Get off that birth control and definitely don't have sex with him. Cook for yourself and your children, look after yourself and your children. His behavior is beyond rude and so selfish. While also in full-time school, the primary caregiver to our 2 daughters, 5 and 20 months, and the only one who cooks or cleans period. Do people really put up with this shit? Question mark. Help please, my brother's wife and child passed away this week and he is too far gone with grief to plan a funeral. Hello, my older brother and I are 23 and 27. We do not really have older relatives to ask questions to about the process around death. We have contacted some friends whose parents have given some steps of what to do, since, even if my brother was in a more functional state, we don't know the process. But, understandably, my brother has barely left his bed since his wife, who was 8 months pregnant, passed earlier this week. I have so many questions I can't even narrow them down. I need him to help best honor her and the child, but he's really down for the count. I don't know what I can do alone, or what I should. I'm really freaking out. May sound obvious, but have you spoken to a funeral director? They basically did everything for us when my dad died. All I did was choose the flowers, tell them the venue, and it was all sorted. All that was left was the bill. Do you know if he has a way to pay for a funeral? Speaking of ways to pay for the funeral, if they had any life insurance on his wife, see if you can get the paperwork started on that. Think you need a death certificate for this. Insurance companies usually pay out in about 30 days and this money can be used for the funeral expenses and such. It is probably the last thing your brother wants to think about, but if they have insurance, it can provide him with a financial buffer if he can't make it to work for a few weeks. Sorry for your loss. I've helped plan a few funeral and yes, you should be doing it if you can. You might have restrictions in place with everything that's going on, but usually the funeral home gives you guidance on what to do. Unless your brother has a clear idea on what he wants, then it's best to just follow their guidance and include him in big decisions such as where, style, cremation, etc. Guest list, songs. Headstones take a long time to order. Usually there's something such as an order of service, a small booklet, which says something about the deceased life, so try to delegate that to someone who knew his wife if you can. You will need to discuss the eulogy with him. That and greeting people are really the only things he needs to do. It's not uncommon to put aside a date in around a year's time, a birthday or the day of death, to celebrate the life of the person with a more personalized touch. This second event can be more thoughtful, videos, photo collages and such, so you can allow him to grieve now and honor them later.